let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting, it's our special work session. It's Monday, January 26th. And if we join me in a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take a quick moment of silence. If you would do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Fields.
Here.
Trustee Reister.
Here.
Trustee Kissinger.
Here.
Trustee Cox. Trustee Wagner. President Pro Tem Keller.
Here.
President Frisbee.
Here.
Can you note, Clerk Wines, that Trustee Cox is remoting in?
Yep.
Thank you.
We have an agenda tonight in front of us. It's pretty quick and easy. Any changes or additions, Mr. Miller?
No.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We have an agenda in front of us tonight. Citizens' comments, now would be the time to step forward if anyone has something to say. Hearing none, we'll introduce Aaron Stevens. He's going to give our 2024-2025 full year audit budget. Aaron, thanks so much for being with us tonight. And I believe your partner, Steve Breyer, is on the phone as well. So thanks for dialing in, Steve.
Good to be here.
All right. Thanks for having me. The presentation is up on the screen, and I printed them out, and Christian printed them out, so we should have tons of printed copies if anyone wants a hard copy. But want to start out and say thanks to Michelle, Jim, Steve Breyer, the rest of the village staff. We know we're a disruption to the routine when we're here. We ruin everyone's week. So we appreciate everyone's help. What I plan to do is highlight what I think are the key areas of the report, as I've done in the past. I did not duplicate the financial statements in this presentation handout here. I pulled information from the audit report and put it into charts and graphs, but if you've got questions, stop me at any time and we can go through those. So with that, the purpose or objective of an audit, the independent auditor's report is presented on pages 1 through 3 of the bound report on the financial statements. The purpose or objective of an audit is to express opinions on your financial statements. The purpose of an audit is not to detect fraud or give you an opinion on your internal control. And that is because fraud detection, deterrence, and prevention, as well as sound internal control, are management responsibilities. If we find fraud, if we've got recommendations on how to improve your internal control, we certainly would share that with you in writing. It would be in the report on internal control, but that report on internal control is a byproduct of the audit itself. The purpose of the audit is to express an opinion or opinions on the financial statements. So the opinions are presented on page 1 of the independent auditor's report in the second paragraph. And that paragraph starts out, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. That is what I consider to be the most important phrase in the report. Present fairly in all material respects is what we refer to as an unmodified opinion. That is the highest level of assurance that we can provide for a set of financial statements. That's what you want to see as a council. It doesn't get any better than that. The types of opinions we could express, unmodified, qualified, or adverse. Qualified opinion might read something like, except for capital assets, the financial statements are fairly presented. Some exception to that unmodified opinion. An adverse opinion is when your financial statements are not fairly presented, and the only other alternative that we have would be to disclaim an opinion altogether. We just couldn't audit your records. So obviously of the options, you have what you're looking for in the unmodified opinion. In the 5th paragraph on that first page of the independent auditor's report, we highlight that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. You're also responsible for the internal control over that preparation and fair presentation. In the second paragraph on page 2, we talk about our responsibility as your auditors. It is to obtain reasonable assurance, but not absolute assurance, that the financial statements are free from material misstatement and not all misstatement. And I emphasize those words. We don't look at every single transaction. We make sample selections, we test your transactions, we, to decide or determine how much we can rely on your internal control. And if we can't, then we have to test more. So it's reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatement. You really wouldn't want to pay us to look at every single transaction, so. The government-wide financial statements, your report consists of two sets of financial statements. You have government-wide financial statements, then you have fund-level financial statements. The government-wide financial statements are presented on pages 14 and 15, and these financial statements are prepared on the full accrual basis of accounting, which means they primarily have a long-term perspective, but they're prepared once a year. The only time you see government-wide statements are in this audit report. So I have a quick slide on government-wide financial statements. We'll touch on a couple of metrics, but we'll spend most of our time on the fund level financial statements. The statement of net position, which is a snapshot as of June 30th, 2025, is presented on page 14. A couple of financial performance indicators that I like to look at, one being the current ratio, and that's a measure of liquidity. It tells you how capable you are of paying your bills as they come due. So your current assets divided by current liabilities for the governmental activities gives you a current ratio of 8. So you can cover your current obligations 8 times over as of June 30th. Business type activities gives you a current ratio of 4.4. Both are sound. Sometimes I get asked, what should it be? I think you should measure it over time and see how it fluctuates, but if it's less than 1, that's bad, right? You can't cover your bills. So 8 and 4 are healthy. The other metric that I like to look at is more of a longer-term metric, the unrestricted portion of your net position compared to expenses. For governmental activities, that was 75%, so you can operate nearly 9 months in the governmental activities before you needed to generate any additional revenue. Again, an excellent position to be in on the full accrual basis of accounting. Business type activities is at 88%, so that's 10 and a half months. We're going to get into that a little bit deeper because all of your business type activities are the same thing as your enterprise funds, but it's all rolled up into one column. So we'll get into more detail when we talk about the sewer fund, the water fund, and the golf fund. But first, we'll focus on the governmental funds financial statements presented on pages 16 and 18. And governmental fund financial statements are prepared on the modified accrual basis of accounting. So it's a different focus, different perspective. This is a current financial resources focus. So when you look at the balance sheet for the governmental funds, you don't see any long-term items like capital assets or long-term debt or the net pension liability and so forth. Those are all long-term items that you would see on the statement of net position, but not on the balance sheet. The fund level presentations should be more familiar to you because this is the level at which your budgets are prepared. The interim reporting you get throughout the year is done at the fund level. So I'll spend a little more time on the metrics here. The governmental funds balance sheet, again, it's a snapshot as of June 30, 2025 of your assets, your liabilities, your deferred inflows of resources, which is a lot like a liability, and the net of those three would be your fund balance. I focus on the general fund as the operating fund for the village. Your total fund balance as of June 30th was just over $3 million. That $3 million is broken down into 5 potential classifications. The village's general fund reports amounts in 4 of those, so you don't have any committed fund balance to report in the general fund. But when we look at financial health for the general fund, I like to look at what I would consider to be unrestricted fund balance. So you've got some level of restriction if you have non-spendable fund balance for like prepaid expenditures. Money's already been spent once, you can't spend it again. Restricted amounts are coming from external sources. The state gives you a grant, says you can only spend that on parks, that's restricted. So the other 3 categories, the committed, assigned, and unassigned, is controlled by the government, by the village. So a fund balance commitment can be made by this body through a resolution. The only way to undo that commitment would be another resolution. Assigned fund balance can either be done by this body or by management to earmark or specify how that the intended use of that fund balance in the future. So you've got an assigned fund balance of just over $400,000 for capital acquisitions, and you've got $60,000 for a pension reserve. And then the unassigned fund balance is everything else. So you've got $2.3 million in unassigned fund balance. The committed, assigned, and unassigned, if you add those 3 together, that's the $2.8 million on the far right-hand side there, compared to your expenditures in the general fund of about $2.3 million. So that $2.8 million represents approximately 124% of your annual expenditures. which is excellent. The GFOA is the Government Finance Officers Association. They recommend that you maintain a minimum fund balance in your general fund that is equal to 2 months of normal operations. 2 out of 12 months is about 17%. And I will add this just for Rod Taylor, because I know you guys have talked about this. They also recommend that you have a policy. So, because Rod would tell you 17% is way too low. But that is a bare minimum. You don't want to go below the 17%. But what you should have is a policy that says, you know, if the council wants 50% fund balance, and we drop below the 50%, what do we do to get it back? You know, what steps do we have to get it back?
Yeah, we enacted, I think 2 years ago, based on your guys' advice, a policy adopted by the council. I'm going by memory, but I think it's a 30% immediate notification of the council, so I believe, but I can report back next week the exact what that policy reads.
And you're not coming anywhere close to needing to, you know, enact whatever steps or measures are included in that policy. You've maintained a healthy fund balance in your general fund for a long time, and I've got a graph that we'll show you in a few minutes. On the next page, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances is presented on page 15, still focusing on the general fund. Total revenue for the year, $3.1 million. That was an increase of $369,000 from 2024, so about a 13% increase in your general fund revenue. Expenditures, $2.2 million, $2.3 million. That was a decrease of $1.9 million, so about a 46% decrease in expenditures, because of the capital outlay you had last year, the building that you're sitting in. So, other financing sources was the sale of capital assets of $131,000. So you added to your fund balance just over $1 million this year. Last year, you you budgeted to add $530,000. So you've, again, very healthy. If you look at the next page, the 5-year bar graph, you can see that you added a fund balance in 4 of the past 5 years, and the year that you used any of your fund balance was to build the building. So, excellent condition. On the next page of the line graph here, this is just the unrestricted portion of your fund balance compared to the expenditures. This is in terms of percentages. As you can see, it's fluctuated because of that saving up and building the building and then adding back to fund balance over the years. But you're at your highest point in the past 5 years. That line at the bottom is that 17%, that minimum amount. The next slide is the same information, just in terms of dollars instead of percentages. So that, again, that brownish, orange, whatever color you want to call that, is 17% of each year's expenditures. Just to show you how you compare. In terms of composition for the general fund revenue, property taxes is your largest source of revenue at 63%. In 2024, it was 69%. Intergovernmental at 28%. That would include any federal, state, and or local revenue coming into the village. Again, it was last year, it was 21%. So a little bit of a shift, but fairly consistent from year to year on the sources of revenue. On the expenditures, the use of funds, last year capital outlay was 58%. This year it's 18%. Public safety is at 38%. Last year it was 20%. Public works at 20%. Last year it was 9%. So the expenditures shifted a bit, but when you spend that much money out of your capital outlay, that has a tendency to make some changes to your percentages. All right, proprietary fund financial statements are presented on pages 20 through 23. Again, these are the same thing as your business type activities, but in more detail, broken down by fund, a slightly different format, but they add up to your business type activities in total. And proprietary funds are prepared on the full accrual basis of accounting, just like the government-wide financial statements. So quite literally, the same information, just broken down by fund. Again, we start with the statement of net position, which is a snapshot. Here we have assets, deferred outflows of resources, which are a lot like assets. Liabilities, deferred inflows of resources, which are a lot like liabilities. The net of those 4 is now called net position instead of fund balance, but it's your equity. So for the sewer fund, unrestricted net position compared to your operating expenses, in here I back out depreciation and amortization because those are non-cash expense amounts, so I don't factor those into this calculation. But if you take that unrestricted portion of your net position compared to expenses for the sewer fund, it's 307%. It's 291 in 2024. For the water fund, it was 109%. So that dropped a little bit from last year. It was 157 in the prior year. And then the golf course went from 28% down to 20%. And we'll get into that. Again, charts and graphs, everybody generally likes the pictures. So we'll get into the bar graph here for the sewer fund. 5-year trend, I've got the dollar amounts at the bottom, but you can see that the total net position did increase, as did the amount in unrestricted. So that green portion of the bar is what you have available for future use. The orange portion is restricted by your bond covenants, and then the blue portion is the amount you've invested in capital. You can't spend your capital. You don't have that available. If you did spend it, it'd be like, selling the car to buy gas. You're just not going to do that. You can't sell your sewer system really anyway. No, probably not too many buyers on that. The line graph is the unrestricted net position compared to your operating expenses, again, factoring out depreciation and amortization. So it did increase slightly from 24 to 25. In the water fund, this one, the total net position obviously increased quite a bit. You added $1.4 million in total. The unrestricted portion, however, did decrease. You made significant investments in your capital assets. So a lot of funding of capital assets that, on your statement of cash flows, you spent $2 million in capital asset additions, and then you factor out depreciation expense, less any related debt, is how you come up with that net investment capital assets, that blue portion of the bar. The line graph does, because of the investment capital assets, your unrestricted portion did decrease. So we've got that, or the percentage decrease, so you see the downward trend in 2025. But again, healthy, you're holding your own there. Similarly with the golf course fund, total net position did decrease about $98,000. Both the unrestricted portion as well as the portion that's invested in capital assets decreased here slightly. But again, still holding your own on the golf course. The line graph doesn't look great. It did drop, but again, it's nowhere near where it was 6 years ago, right? So 7 years ago. Quite the turnaround. So you're still at about 20%. As far as the upcoming accounting standards, we have a note disclosure, or you have a note disclosure, note 12, starts on page 50, and it talks about the 3 new pronouncements from the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. They write the rules that you have to follow as far as accounting and financial reporting goes. GASB Statement 103, Financial Reporting Model Improvements. So this is a kind of a revisit to GASB 34. If you remember that was the biggest change we probably ever saw in governmental accounting. And it takes a look at the MD&A requirements, so the management's discussion and analysis. We've got some updates there. Changes to how unusual or infrequent items are reported, changes to the proprietary fund financial statement presentation, just how they're listed as operating versus non-operating. Reporting for major component units, that won't really impact the village here. And then changes to the budgetary comparison information for the governmental funds. You'll have a new column that you'll see in the required supplementary information. And that is effective for the year that you're in now. GASB Statement 104 on the disclosure of certain capital assets. Over the past few years now, there have been new types of capital assets that have been introduced, intangible assets, so leases, SBITAs, or subscription-based IT arrangements, so the leasing of software, private-public partnerships. This statement requires that these be disclosed separately instead of combined all with your other capital assets, the ones that you buy. So just a note disclosure presentation change, also effective for the year that you're in now. GASB Statement 105 was actually released after we printed your report. So it's not in your notes, but it is effective for the year ending 2027, and this is on subsequent events. So it clarifies the definition of subsequent events that constitute recognized and non-recognized events and establishes note disclosure requirements. So again, another note disclosure change or update is coming your way. Year after next. I think I went pretty fast, but if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Jessica, do you have any questions you'd like to? Is she on mute? Anyone else have any questions of Mr. Stevens?
Aaron, you mentioned Rod. He actually worked with the fire authority couple, 3-4 months ago, did an analysis, 5-year analysis based on fund balance. So very impressed, very appreciative too, so.
I will highlight on the percentage drop on the golf course, just so you know, when you deal with, as you're all aware, totality of money that's less amount, the graph of percentages will be impacted greater. But basically that comes down to total dollars were less 97,000. However, we purchased 2 greens mowers and the tee box mowers that were just slightly above 95,000. So in real dollars, it was the investment in capital.
Hey, Jessica, did you, she not on?
No, that's none. She texted me here.
Oh, he has none, okay, thank you, Jessica. Well, it's always good to see you, Mr. Stevens. Next year is gonna be a big tale the year after, we got some big shoes to fill,
That's what I hear.
so. It's been really, really rewarding to sit here in front of this community where we started 9 years ago. In particular was with the, our funding, what I lose the terminology, the security funding, the set-aside minimum that we should have, the fund balance. I think we were less than 13% when we started this, and that was a goal we threw at Mr. Mallory to get it up over 25%. And second year into it, and to see where we're sitting today is quite an accomplishment. Excuse me. An accomplishment by this staff and his team, so.
Yeah, and I'd also like to thank, I think Aaron started out with something, I know we're, about how it's a disruption when they're here for the week. I can assure you, for me, it hasn't been a disruption the last few years. For some reason, I'm always on vacation that week out of state. I don't know how the scheduling. So true credit goes to Michelle Morgan.
Thank you, Michelle.
So thank you, Michelle, for steering the ship during that time period and all throughout the year. I appreciate it. The other is on February 23rd at the council meeting, I'll give the State of the Village address, which will then go deeper in to the committed, assigned, and recommended CIP, which will really kick off the 26-27 fiscal year budget prep. But that'll come on February 23rd, where we'll dive into it. And by the end of it, everyone will understand we're really, truly broke. So we don't need a bunch of requests. Sticking with the game plan of the past 10 years. We're broke. No, I saw Sid's eyes light up and curl a smile. So that's my comments.
We'll open it up to, and thank you.
Thank
If there's
you.
no further questions for him,
Steve Breyer, goodness gracious, I about had a fumble there at the goal line. Steve and Steve's team helps us out each and every month, so definitely thanks. But do you have any comments, Steve? I apologize.
No, not really. I would echo everything that Aaron said, and you know, the village has come a long way, and I've enjoyed working with Jim. We can run it back once more, Jim. One more year, one more audit.
one more year.
more. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe then we'll confess what those first couple days were like.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
All right, my pleasure.
Thank you
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you.
I'll just open it up to any trustees that wanted to have an opportunity to speak. Hearing none, I think I've said enough. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Michelle, and the staff to get us in this position. It's quite rewarding, so thanks. With that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, meeting adjourned. Thank you. call this meeting to order. Welcome to our regular session council meeting tonight, January 26th. So if you join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just take a quick moment of silence. Would you do a roll call, please, Christian?
Trustee Fields.
Here.
Trustee Reister. Here. Trustee Kissinger. Here. Trustee Wagner. Trustee Cox.
Here.
President Pro Tem Keller.
Here.
President Frisbee.
Here. And Trustee Wagner advised he was unavailable due to some conflicting sickness in his family. Wish you the best. We have an agenda in front of us. Mr. Mallory, were there any changes or additions you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Anything from the staff? If not, motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
We have motion to support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we have an agenda. Tonight we have scheduled appearances with us, Mr. Tom Ham with Renaissance Golf Management and Michael Moore. So your opportunity to take the stage, Mr. Ham.
The introduction, very enthusiastic. Like I'm some fan or something.
But we will need you to come to this microphone, because then, and we are live on YouTube with, I think,
Okay.
11 minimum
All right.
people.
Well, thank you.
Who knows, maybe Nicholas is on this thing, I don't know, but pressure's on.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. So it's been 8 years we've had this relationship. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate it, Mr. Mallory and the village council, even though I know a lot of the faces change. The council has remained consistent, and which is very helpful in making the operations go smoothly. A lot of times what happens with councils or boards, they change, and sort of the objectives and things that we're trying to accomplish kind of change. So I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. The consistency is imperative to the successes that we've had, and I hope you share those with, or that view with us, because you really accomplished some great things in 8 years, from where you worked to where you are. I think it's a really good case study for success, so thank you for that. Do you have, okay, perfect, your financial review, and I'm gonna be brief. I know Jim said, you got about 10 minutes, so we're gonna rock and roll this thing. You have these up here with the highlights of the financial review over 2024, and I've given you some other years on there. Golf was up 22 grand. Food and beverage is up $108,000. Now, that's great. The golf or the food and beverage margins aren't as nice as the golf margins, but the food and beverage really enhances the golfer experience. So Mike's done a great job, and I'll get to that shortly. What I would like you to see up there is that our starts have remained relatively consistent since 2022. We had a fluke year in 2024. I don't remember. We had weird rain. We had a lot of heat, which we had last year too. But generally our rounds have remained around 29,000. What's really important there is the revenue per start consistently has been increasing. So that means every time someone visits Angels Crossing, no matter what they're doing there, they spend about $58.71. It's a good KPI to know what they're doing there. Now, our rounds up there, when we state the rounds, they're really starts. So, for example, if you came out and played 9 holes, you're going to be a start. So it's not 18-hole equivalent. It's just a start. People show up to play golf, whether it's 9 or 18 holes. Feel free to take a look at those and ask me any questions. You'll notice that you know, year to year, you know, membership changes, league fee changes, they're kind of dynamic numbers. A lot of times when league fee goes down, green fees go up. There's opportunity for other play. Those players that aren't playing league come out in other times. It's just a timing thing, and it's cyclical. We've noticed that leagues are becoming less important to people. I mean, we're seeing a little bit of decline at every one of our golf courses for leagues. I don't know if it's the time that you have to dedicate to it or not, but the good side of that is the green fee revenue seems to climb equivalently to that. And then if you notice, the food and beverage really made a big jump, which quite honestly we've struggled with since COVID. I mean, and Mike, you know, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but it's done a great job in getting that back. So with the addition of Mike, he's been able to bring in, he's had such experience and connection to this community. He walked in, had staffing available, which is always the problem, and just hit the ground running, and he has done a fantastic job bringing that sector back. Again, $108,000, almost $109,000, a 51% increase is quite impressive. So we thank him for that. The other great thing about Mike is that he understands the lessons of the past that we learned. If you remember 8, 9, or 7, 8 years ago, we were trying to be a restaurant there, and you're taking a whooping, financial whooping. So talking to Mike about that, and this is, hey, you know, you're coming from the private sector and restaurant or whatever, golf's a little different. And he grasped that really quickly, ran with it, and now the food and beverage is an enhancement to the golfer experience, not a demise. You know, I'm not just trying to grab a beer, they can actually get a burger. So. With that, I mean, do you mind if you know, run through your stuff? Would be great. Is that okay? Can I separate? Okay.
Thanks, guys.
That's a lot of smash burgers. Well
It
done.
is. You know, total food was 61,000, and then the beverages was 47,000 in growth. Really, this growth was achieved by just intentional leadership, strong execution, and a team that I was able to bring with me from this community, being a part of it for so long. Our food growth was mostly driven by increased post-round dining and golfer engagement, strong performance during leagues, outings, and having events. You know, we did 4 Christmas parties this year. We already have an event booked for this year before we even open, celebration of life at the golf course. So really, what we're seeing is more people hanging out and spending their money there. It's not just getting done golfing and leaving, you know. So this was my first year there, and my experience, like he said, allowed me to quickly assess the opportunities we had at the golf course, implement proven strategies, and then rather relying on trial and error. The team has embraced everything, and they perform consistently, which has been great. Pretty much the whole staff I've already talked to everybody, they're coming back this year, so we're almost fully staffed already before we even open. We've added a couple new people already, so we're going to hit the ground running again this year, which is great. Looking ahead with the foundation now in place, we plan to continue to grow through our events and our outings, increase each person's spending during those high volume golf days, and then maintain consistency through our established systems and training that we have now. I feel like the momentum we created this year really provides a clear path for this year, this season. So, but I really have to thank my team for what they did and being present every day, and then the opportunity given to me by Tom and this council is truly appreciated. And I'll turn it back to Tom to finish up. Scott, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
In addition to Mike filling that really difficult role to fill with food and beverage, because it's a tough industry, we've enjoyed the leadership of our superintendent, Jason Culver, for 7 years. He took over a course that you were experiencing lots of complaints and justify. A lot of them are justified, and he's done a really good job. He's transformed your product to flailing to an upscale experience. So he's done a really good job. An example of that is last year, or 2024, we had this crazy weather where you get 5 inches of rain and then nothing for 30 days and 95 degrees every day, and it exposed your construction of your greens. We never had that problem before, but certain factors brought about where we were losing big portions, and I don't mean big, but 8-foot sections of the greens, and just in circular areas. And soil samples showed us that there was just soils that just couldn't grow grass, and under those circumstances when it's really stressed. So Jason came up with a plan, 3/4 inches at a time, poked all these holes, pulled all that material out, and put a soil and some chemical type things that will help with that situation, is able to grow grass on those areas. And now we have a plan. I'm sure it's going to rear its head. I mean, that's how it was constructed. It's no one's fault. No one here knew about it. It's just what was done that he'll be able to react to, and we'll get, we won't have those issues. I mean, we'll see the stress out, and he'll be able to react quicker and have some better results where it won't die, So we've had that. This year, we also had Dave Mosini, our PGA professional, return to duty. He came out of retirement to help us with that. So Dave was here 2 years ago for, I think it was, I should know this, but I think he was there 3 years. Is that right?
Yeah,
John?
at least.
3 years.
I think so.
Dave's past president of the PGA, Michigan PGA, does a fantastic job. Just when he left, he just was ready to retire, and I think he got bored in 2 years. So he said, hey, is there something going on? So it was great to get him back. He's a real consistent, works with Mike great. Those two get along wonderfully, and he's planning on coming back for 2026. So we're really excited about that. Your capital improvements, just to go over some of the things that, as an asset, as a business that you own, you're in great shape. I mean, generally what happens is the maintenance equipment goes downhill. And it's costly. I mean, a mower that we used to pay 30 grand for 5 years ago is now 60 grand. I mean, it's nuts. I'm sure you experience it in other things. But you are up to date, and probably 90% of the superintendents in the state are probably pretty envious. We've got current equipment. You, as a council, have made great decisions in keeping that updated, and it's a very valuable asset. And it helps with the morale and the conditioning of the golf, and morale of the people that are doing the work, and the conditioning of the golf course. So, in the clubhouse, we have some minor issues that are coming up that Mike's dealing with, but we've done some of the carpet. I mean, the clubhouse is what it is, but it's very functional. So, nothing negative about that. And then another great asset is your cart paths, and we were in bad shape 3-4 years ago, and Mr. Mallory's got me getting the processes in 3 and 4 year, or 3-4 phases, and I think we're on number 3 if we get the approval for that. But those are very helpful. Again, anything that you can do to help with the experience, people notice. It's really funny. You get on this big, beautiful golf course, everything looks lush, but when you're on a bumpy cart path and you feel like getting bounced all over, it doesn't look so great. And then you get on a smooth cart path, and all of a sudden you have a different perspectives. So they're very important. You don't hit any golf balls off them, but they are important. Our staffing for 2026, as Mike pointed out, looks great. We were just having a conversation before the meeting, and most of his staff is coming back, which is usually the toughest to fill. The food and beverage is always the toughest, so we're excited about that. I know Jason, majority of his guys are coming back, and we are looking forward to improving the outside service, so some of those people are gonna survive that, and we're just gonna have to hire new ones that agree with our philosophy and service. So I know Mike just hired someone over the winter who walked in that had some gumption, I guess is the word. So, very, as you know, consistency in staffing and low turnover is very important, so. We've got that to look forward to. Our focus for 2026 is just work with Jason to continue on the path of improving the golf course. I think bunkers are probably ready to be looked at again. I think we did them 4 years ago, and just have to get the stones out. And I think you actually have a piece of equipment that I bought that's it's a beach comber. It just grabs all the stones. That we'll be dealing with that again, but probably edging and things like that will be have to be done again. We do have a plan to improve the service and the culture for the outside service. That's the bad kids. That needed to happen, and Dave made some headways, and Mike certainly has overseen that too, where I think we made some pretty good improvements this year. We set the tone anyways. The golf shop merchandise sales, kind of weak for a $100 golf course, and some of it's the setup. It's kind of it's kind of hard to get people to look at stuff the way everything is set up there. But we're going to focus on removing the low percentage profit items and concentrate more on like hat sales where we can make our higher percentage. So did that. I was just at the golf show, found a vendor for that. And then we're going to try to do some, instead of carrying everything, like FootJoy shoes. I mean, everyone carries FootJoy shoes, so let's carry Echo, or let's do some specific, smaller runs, that aren't going to hurt you, but something that's different rather than everyone else has got it. So I'm going to use that. And then we do have, Mike and I are in the process right now where you're going to have your own marketing module. Currently we use Mine, which you're going to have your own section. And in that module, you have a way to do a social community app like Facebook that will get people signed up and control our narrative. So Facebook doesn't control your narrative. If you guys are Facebook people, they kind of take over your people, and where do they go? So those are going to be our focuses. I mean, we got a lot of other things, but those are the main things that we'd like to stay or like to make significant improvements on. Great. Well, again, thank you very much. I know that's quick. I can answer any questions that you want, but I'm just eternally grateful for the relationship we've had over the 8 years, and thank you for all your support.
I want to ask about the platform fee. What's a platform fee?
So 2 years ago, credit card processing got stupidly expensive. And you can charge what we'll call a platform fee as long as you notify the customer that you're doing it, and you're really recouping your credit card charges. Okay. So if they choose to use a credit card instead of cash, you see the gas stations flash the, whatever. If they choose to use a credit card, they're charged 3%.
Gotcha.
They know that ahead. They're really not paying anything. Most of you all have cards that pay 3% if you use it, blah, 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 whatever it is. And so really, they're just not making the 3% on us.
All right, I noticed we didn't have any history past 23 on that. So
it's just started a lot.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a big number, too. I mean,
yeah.
So we really, in essence, don't pay credit card fees when we did before. And not really any complaints.
Make sure my mic's on so this is heard. No, I think it's it's to highlight, you mentioned it's been 8 years. I've mentioned it before. when we've presented on the golf course in the past. I won't forget meeting Tom for the first time. Well, the first time, I probably said this too, I got an email from some guy named Tom Ham that was pretty pointed, which ultimately I respect that type of tactic. And I think that came in September or October of one year, and it led to, we got to meet this guy in person, so
Yeah, right, yeah.
hauled Michelle with me
Yeah,
up
yeah,
to
Michelle.
Plainwell in some undercover restaurant in the dark corner so we could talk openly. But it has grown into a relationship, because I remember, I think it's two-sided, because I remember the conversation vividly of what we had to do with the golf course, your recommendations at that time, that led to that following January starting more in a consultant role, and within a short time knew the value of you and your company to bring to the golf course, and we entered this relationship. And I think from your side, you found out government maybe doesn't move as fast as if one of us individuals own the course. But it really, when you study the golf course, not only the conditions and having appropriate leadership, that then people who respect that leadership come back and continue the program, can move a course that was not profitable prior to 2016 into a profit margin, but also in the investment of equipment and appropriate equipment to get, and that's where the council deserves the credit. They've always supported what has come in front of them. So thankful for Angels Crossing. I know as we go here in the next little bit, especially in February at different meetings to talk more, but it's something that we can explore more if the council desires it. But I publicly wanted to say thank you and certainly give the shout out. You are the owner and driver of Renaissance Golf Management, and your company and you should deserve that public credit for what's happened and gone forward. So thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
I have a question.
Yeah,
Just real
sure.
quick, it might be more for Mike, I'm not really sure. But you mentioned that there were some events that were happening that you started kind of doing out there, and you mentioned a celebration of life. What kind of events, are these like golf specific, or do we have like an event facility?
We just use the clubhouse.
Okay.
So the one we have now is before the season starts. It's actually Mike Frederick's father.
We've had celebration of life. We've had Christmas company parties. We've had wedding get-togethers.
We had an anniversary this year too.
Bigger non-golf related. I'm bringing 20 people in to eat type situations.
And is that, and maybe this is more of a question than for you, is that, I know when we have events at some of the other facilities that we have, whether it be like the farmer's market or something like that, I guess, is it a known thing that there's an option or an opportunity to have an event at Angels Crossing?
Well, I mean, we have it out there, probably not as wide and deep as some would hope, but we also, it's a balancing act, because we say no more than we say yes, especially during the golf season.
Yeah, obviously,
and-
that's the primary function of it.
Yeah,
But-
and as long as I'm here, I'm not going to be a part of trying to open this thing in December through April. It lost on average $60,000-$70,000 trying to do that, to try to hold staff together. But I think it is growing, like most stuff, by word of mouth on the context. But I also don't want to give that impression, because I do know we've said no a lot more than we've said yes.
Okay, I was just curious because that was brought up as to how that actually work.
It's the quality of food that has people coming there
Oh,
just to eat.
absolutely.
Some of it
So,
has to do with just people knowing me, and knowing that I'm there too. People that have
So
done
how,
business
do
with
they
before.
contact, if somebody
Yeah.
wants to do it,
They'll
then they would
email the
contact you?
website. They'll email the website, and we all get those emails.
Okay, because I don't think that people really know that.
Yeah,
One of the questions I have for you, Mike, is,
Yes, ma'am.
I think you had mentioned to me that we could come for lunch if we wanted to.
yeah, it's open to the public.
Okay, and I don't think people really
During the
know that
season.
either,
Yeah,
because I didn't, and so I think that's nice to know that you can come for lunch if you would like.
we're gonna do a better job of getting that out this year and making sure we invite the public more. That's gonna be one of our main goals. We were just really worried about the first year, just getting everything solid there and servicing our golfers and make sure they have the best experience they can. But this year, we're gonna reach outside of that
Okay,
for
great.
sure. We do
yeah,
have plans for that.
I do want to convey on this, having lived this golf course for 10 years, and it's different locally in trying to think the words to choose here. It's the sign of maturity. Yeah, it is, there are people locally who it doesn't matter if the golf course is able to pay the bills or the liabilities that are on the taxpayers. And ultimately, that's even going back to those early years, Tom, in 2017 and 18, it's like, look, the liabilities fall to the taxpayers, and we have to be obligated to make sure this course can pay the bills before we really start buying. So we went through that phase where we're buying updated equipment versus new equipment. We've moved to new equipment, and we're in a season, because it's going into a new golf season, where we do a comprehensive review of competing courses and facilities to come up with our member rates, our league rates, and which will move into our show up rates, both in season and out of season. And you can, and the numbers speak for themselves, and the data and results speak for themselves. But this is Mike's first go around with the local pressure of emails, phone calls, lobbying, that they don't care. They want their deal. They want, they can't believe over the course of 20 years or whatever, they don't, and I'll stop because the first owner went bankrupt. That's pretty good data that they didn't run it very well. There's multiple datas, including when the village took hundreds of thousands of dollars from water and sewer accounts to cover losses. That wasn't a very good strategy. So probably too long-winded, but the non-golf people locally, it's tough to, we run a golf course that now does serve quality food, and there are certain opportunities, and there's growth in those opportunities to have those functions, but this is not an event center. And a lot of our no's trying to explain to local people that they don't want to hear it. So that's what my caution is, to grow that aspect very slowly because of the kickback that staff gets when we say no for very legitimate reasons.
Yeah, I was just trying to get clarification as to how that was set up and how that was working, and yeah, obviously this is your first year kind of going into this, and the proof is in the numbers. You guys are doing a great job. That's the first time I've heard events out there, so.
That's when I said lessons of the past. It's great that you can come out for lunch in season when we're doing our core product and you can enjoy that. That's fine. The trap is, oh, well, you did so good for lunch, let's try to do some dinners. And then, oh, well, we did great for that, now let's move to the winter season. Well, you'll lose your shorts.
Yeah.
All the profit that we made, you'll throw it away, trying to be a restaurant.
Yeah.
You don't have a facility for it. It wasn't thought out well. The kitchen is minimal. Mike does a great job with a limited menu that's what we just try to achieve. Okay, this is our workspace, what can we do well? So people go away thinking, oh, that was a good burger, Mike's come up with some different dishes that are good, you know? So yeah, it's wonderful that you, in the summer, can come out for lunch, but when it starts bleeding out, and that's when you starting that cycle that just never rewards.
Yeah, I think basically what I was talking about was when you were in season.
Yeah, absolutely, no, it's
Yeah.
wonderful, you know, have people out there, yeah.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Thanks so much. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
for everything you've done.
Have a good night, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, safe travels back, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming down.
It takes us on to public officials' time, and I see none. Citizens' comments for agenda items. Anyone wishing to speak? I'll just take a minute and talk about what Tom had just presented. You know, I think we're at a crossroads as a community with a golf course. It's been extremely challenging time the last 8 years. We are indebted immensely. We still have notes on it. We still have outstanding bonds on the property itself. Monies have been moved over the course of the 8 years ago. I'm just throwing it out there that we have, and Tom Ham said it best, we have a very valuable asset. And the liability falls on us. The liability falls on the taxpayers. What if in 2 years the market absolutely crashes? We lost so much money in these early days, and Jim and his staff turned it around, reached out to Tom Ham. We're not golf people. He's a village manager, but yet 30% of his time is spent managing that golf course, and in the summer it even goes up more. So we're going to have a new village manager next year. We're a lot of transformation in this community. I'm throwing it out there, you know, that we had 9 years ago, a council member candidates page was sell the golf course. We had another trustee in here that questioned us. I've questioned it 9 years ago, realized we couldn't as a community sell it. We are obligated by bonding to continue. Well, that time has passed. I'm just throwing that out there, you know, for you all to think about, whether it's time to take advantage of an asset that we have in this community. You know, think about it. If there's something further we'd like to do, get an appraisal on a property, get an appraisal on equipment. What value is it to this community? I think it's just a really good time now to start considering, thinking about it, whether it's a value to the community that brings business into the community and helps us grow and prosper as a community, or is it something that is more of a detriment to the taxpayers of this community? I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm really proud of where we're at today, given 8 years ago, the condition of that golf course. Just remind us that we don't earn any money as a community to the general fund. Everything that's made out there is put back into the property. So it's not a benefit from a taxpayer position. But it is a beautiful place, and it's become quite renowned.
If the council would like, I'd be happy, we have a meeting next Monday, and I'd make a presentation on the golf course. It goes a little bit more wider and deeper than today, and give the council different options that could be available, if that's what the council would like.
Anyone would make a motion in that?
Do we need a motion
So moved.
Second.
that you're going to give us?
I move the manager Mallory brings a more comprehensive plan regarding the golf course to next Monday's meeting, so we can look at different options and make more informed decisions.
I'll second that.
Is it roll call or voice? We'll do a voice call. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Some more work on your plate, and I appreciate it, Jim.
He offered.
We have our minutes from our January 5th council meeting with total warrant reports, event requests, correspondence. Everyone had an opportunity to review it. If so, I entertain a motion to approve the general consent agenda from January 5th, 2026.
So moved?
Support.
Would you do a roll call, please, Christian?
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Fields,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. So we have a few action items in front of us. We have to formally adopt our 24-25 fiscal year audit.
Yeah,
Moved.
Support?
Have discussion
I think Jim wanted to say something. We have motion to support. Would anyone like to speak to that audit? Well,
I will state that I'm very appreciative of everything that the staff and Manager Mallory's done over the last 7+ years I've been on the council. I came on right at the very, kind of, not the beginning, but the tail of the beginning when we were getting this house back in order. And to go from an audit that had comments to comment-free over the last 5-6 years, I think is awesome. I'm just hoping that moving forward, the fire authority will have the same type of audit. So I do want to say thank you to Jim and his team, Michelle, and to Manor, and also to Siegfried Kramer for all the work they do.
Yeah. Amen. And I will say that, 9 years ago, Jim was thrown down a gauntlet, and he's exceeded it exceptionally. So we're in a position that when I came on the council, I knew we only had two ways to go. We were either going to crash and burn, or we were going to have a model government. So that model government, I think we all took to heart, and I think we're there. Let's just continue. So we had motion and support. Are there any further comments? Do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Fields,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. Formally adopted. Thank you.
we'll be sure to put that up on the website tomorrow, Christian, okay?
So we have a request from South County Fire Authority for their 2026-27 full year budget.
Yeah, just to give you a little back history, the authority's fiscal year ends March 31st. So technically, we need to get this approved by our March meeting. We only really meet one meeting a month. We've been meeting a second meeting if need be, but most of them, the last couple months have only been one. I know that Schoolcraft Village has approved and Prairie Round has approved. Obviously, Brady Township and Waukesha are not factors in this anymore. Some of the highlights that I can tell you that the contributions from each entity will remain frozen for this next fiscal year. So whatever the village paid out of our general fund will remain the same moving forward. That does not mean that expenses are going to remain static. They are not, even though we're losing two entities. Costs for things are still going to remain the same: fuel, heat, utilities. So we are going to be looking very quickly into our next fiscal year as to what that's going to look like projection-wise, as far as what the entities are going to need to come up with, the four of us remaining, and how we should possibly proceed of funding it, whether we should still write a check out of the general fund, which we've been doing as a village, or we go to an authority-wide assessment. So, but there's more to come on that. But really, and this budget follows more of the uniform general accounting methods that everybody likes to see. It's a lot easier. Even people that are into budgets, the previous ones that were presented were highly confusing. So this is a operational and a capital improvement period. So I would appreciate motion and support so that I can take this back next month and let them know it's been approved.
You have a request in front of us. What's this council's desire?
I make a motion to support.
I'll support.
Any further discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Fields,
Yes?
Trustee Kissinger,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes, sir. Good move. Thank you for that. So we have the Metro Act telecommunications right-of-way approval that Mr. Christian is going to speak to.
Yeah, so Midwest Energy Communications put in a application to do boring like Surf Internet did year and a half ago. This is just for CB McDonald and V Avenue. And our attorney, Josh Saul, he's from the same company that Catherine's from. He reviewed it all and gave it the okay. Just needs council support and approval.
Support.
Second?
Any other questions or comments? This is just a right-of-way approval. It's not an agreement entered into for
Yep.
funding. Okay,
Yep, they just need this to do the work.
all right.
And they paid the permitting fee, and this is the final step that they would need.
Well, we have motion and support.
Well, I assume real quick that means that, that out to the west of here, that's a different, Surf Internet doesn't cover that, that's them. And I
Yep.
know Schoolcraft has Mercury, I think.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's,
So I do have a question too, because I have a friend who is on East V Avenue, and she's, can't get any kind of internet. I mean, it's really shaky. Is this what's going to take the place of that? In other words, will she have a better chance of getting better quality?
Is she on East V in the village limits?
She's on just almost to 18th Street.
Yeah, that would be controlled by Schoolcraft Township.
Oh, okay.
So this
This
is
won't help
for
her.
in the village limits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
blessing, buddy?
Yeah. Oh, darn, I was hoping to give her some good news.
Any other questions? We have motion and support. We'll just do all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? They have our approval. Takes us to our fabulous Goose Roundup.
Yes, this is the same thing that we do each year. It needs a resolution that will approve staff to enter into this contract for the goose nest and egg destruction permit for the area that surrounds Sunset Lake. And we would like your approval for that.
So moved.
Support.
So we have motion and support. I had a question. Does that include swans?
I was going to ask the same thing because they've gotten.
Those mute, they're, well, yeah, mute swans,
No, it just in the geese.
just the geese. I've read through the contract. I didn't say anything about mute swans, but they're becoming more numerous than the geese out there, it seems like.
It's because we're capturing the geese.
That's what I was going to say. So does the DNR have one of these for
I
swan
can look
as
into
well?
it, but I don't think so. But I'll look into it and
Okay.
report back.
The mute swan's an invasive swan. It's not native to Michigan, so, and then they drive off the trumpeter swans.
Or ducks, all
They're
everything.
very destructive animal, and I think that's what, I see the orange on their beak, but. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to look in and report back on that.
So we have motion and support. We do a roll call, please, Christian.
Trustee Reister?
Yes.
Trustee Kissinger?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Keller?
Yes.
Trustee Fields?
Yes.
President Frisbee?
Yes. And we have item E, approval for the Pup and Press Arts Festival to reserve the depot and commercial buildings.
I wondered about that.
I was corrected myself in my hat. I was gonna say pulp, but I said it says pup here.
I'd like to move to amend the agenda.
Include the L.
So I think this is a look at what is, we have this property that is the historic village and finding ways to get maximum use out of that property and people engaged in it. Kim Marisley, in an effort and created this organization, we have partnered up with them, be it the village, we're the fiduciary that we were able with this group to secure an initial amount from the foundation. I know they're working on other amounts, and I think this is related to Sid waking me up with a phone call at 5:15 a.m. while I was in Traverse City, Michigan, telling me that I had been tardy by a day to submit this, so we got it submitted. But we strongly recommend a motion, support, and approval. We felt it was best to come in front of the council versus giving staff approval using these facilities. I know that the historic village is aware the buildings are in our control, though, but they're in support of this endeavor as well. So we would ask for council support so we can plan on. And in quite a day, we'll have a lot more as we get closer to this date, but really organized in bringing this literacy event throughout the village and getting people going throughout all of the village, and should be a really strong positive recognition for the village of Vicksburg, as well as a positive economic impact on with our retail partners. So.
Sid, do you have any more information about exactly what is going to be there?
So there will be at least 5 authors over there. It'll be part of the library fair.
Okay.
And then the Historic Society will also be operating the printing press. So they'll actually have demonstrations of that. And I think they're going to allow us, I'm not sure. They'll be at least producing bookmarkers or bookmarks with the pulp and press logo. And I think there's something else that the Historic Society is also going to be doing as well.
Okay.
There will be at least 5 authors over there in those buildings.
Thank you.
Well, the staff is asking for board's approval.
So moved.
Support.
I did want to mention real quick, Kim met at the Lions Club a couple weeks ago. She did a wonderful job. And I made the comment, I said, I'm surprised you haven't come to the council yet. And she looked at me, she goes, well, we need to find somebody to talk to. I said, you're talking to one right now. But she went in very detailed about the whole program. It sounds really, really good. So I know it's the first year for you guys doing it, but
Yeah, and we appreciate the sponsorship, the fiscal sponsorship this year, but we fully intend to do a non-profit application. Really good.
Because we're broke. Thank you.
I think we just found out we're not broke.
I think the Lions Club is going to maybe help you out next month, just unofficially, so.
As long as you guys show up with an outhouse for the Iceberg Fest.
That's extra.
We meet the second Monday of the month at Main Street. You can come talk to them about it.
So did we have a motion to support, Kristen? And so we'll do, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? You have our approval, Pumps and Press. It only makes sense, man. That takes us to Mr. Manager's report.
Yeah, I'll start out by apologizing to Trustee Reister and Trustee Fields and Chief Sanderson They've been, I don't think I have a very good side, but they've certainly been on the side of, with a big bandage on it, so I apologize. And I gotta say, I gotta apologize to everyone. I'm struggling. It seems like it's about 40 degrees in this room right now. I've had a procedure quite a while today, but dealing with that, so I apologize for that. But mention of the Iceberg Fest, it is scheduled for February 28th downtown. It will be from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. We've tasked Mike Moore with taking the leadership on this, and he has held multiple meetings. And February 23rd, we'll give a report at that meeting. I'll have Mike update everyone. But again, it'll be a full Saturday worth of events downtown to bring recognition to the village, bring people in for an economic impact. Sid did mention part of the components is an outhouse race, just to give that little teaser. I would, it is getting highlighted on our social media and our texting and email distribution list on a consistent basis. And I would remind people that there are Berg Bucks still out there, and that they can get those monies with the incentives that are attached, and hopefully use all of it, every single penny, with our retail stores on the 28th. But we'll give a more detailed report on the 23rd. I did attend the Michigan Municipal's Executive Conference this past week in Traverse City. I did share, I think, to each individual council member kind of a timeline over the next 12 to 15 months, and we'll be giving more information both next week, Monday, related to using professional recruiting services to fill the village manager's role. And kind of a heads up, I'll give the summary next meeting with, if you want to move forward, a final draft type RFP for those services to go in front of the council on February 23rd. But sticking with that timeline and talking with people in that business this past week, it would timeline out well to get someone on board in October this year, and then work with them. But we can talk more about that at the next two meetings. And I did want to follow up, just so everyone's aware. I mean, the roof at the fire station, it made prompted because of the vote on the budget, was completed, and very good partnership, smooth as can be. We did get the 30% or whatever it was from South County Fire, so that we can close out, but I think was a positive thing on both sides. So be happy to answer any questions anyone has. And like I said, the 23rd is my intention to give a State of the Village address that'll go more in depth at that. Within that, it'll conclude with my recommendations of commitments, assignments, and CIP as we stand now. It'll also give at a high altitude what we are looking at CIP-wise for village equipment. There are some significant CIP investments that we're going to put in front of the council, reference our Department of Public Works, one of them being the front building, getting it to match the newest building, and some improvements there. But it will, we'll go into more details, and then of course next Monday, we'll present the positives and unique opportunities we might have with Angels Crossing Golf Course. So, but if anyone has any questions.
Looking forward to the next couple of meetings, Jim. Jay, any update on any reporting on the tree committee?
We will be having a meeting within the next few weeks to get ready for this spring, so.
I did, and you weren't included, but
No.
Kelly Christensen is incredibly organized, and I did provide her answers on So Brian Newhoff did identify where all the trees are projected in that 27 project that would be removed. Within that bid will be the replacement of those trees, but she does, just as of today, receive the mapping of all that, so.
Yeah, that's something we really, thank you.
And if you would share with them, they're doing a great job. We'd really appreciate.
I will be happy to do
Yeah.
My tree's still up, so it's good.
I hope you're taking care of it.
Trust-
Every day I go out and say hi.
Trustee Fields, I think you had just a meeting.
We had a Parks and Rec meeting right at the beginning of this evening. Just kind of went over, we've got final dates for Movies in the Park this year, 3 different dates for that. The Cultural Arts Center has mentioned they would like to partner a little bit more with Parks and Rec. No financials because we're broke, but we did discuss some things that we did discuss a few things. So lots of opportunity. Got the master plan now. Everyone's excited.
Thanks. Sewer meeting is tomorrow. CAT is Wednesday. Was the Planning Commission update?
Planning Commission was on January 12th. We did go through more zoning items with Kyle Mucha. So did we get through all of them now, Jim? We've gotten through all of the zoning?
Yeah, it'll have a final draft and we're
Yep.
ready to move forward.
So we've kind of gone through all that. That'll come to the council, of course, next month, right? Is that what the flight plan was? for
Yeah,
it?
it'll go to the Planning Commission on the 9th and Council the 23rd.
Yep. So next month, you guys will also be involved in that. You won't be through the marathon sessions that we went through for planning the last couple times, but all really good stuff and stuff that is going to kind of look forward in the village, forward looking. We also did 3 grant requests got approved, one for Vickers, Jaspers, and the Miller Building as well. That's what address is the Miller Building?
That is on Main Street. It's where Zojo
Yes.
Beauty is located. So.
And that is about it.
Thanks. The best for last?
Okay. Grab a sandwich and a cup of coffee. We had our meeting last Wednesday. Biggest things to come out of it, we're looking into a payroll service, obviously, to pay the firefighters. That is moving forward. They've had some initial meetings with Mercantile Bank and trying to get that kind of lined up. We have approved a payoff letter to PNC Bank for the new truck. We will not take delivery of the truck until probably September, October of this year, but we are paying it off before March 31st, which Brady and Waukesha were aware of. They were on the front end of this thing, so they're gonna pay on their way out the door. I don't want to say it like that, but that's the reality. We're also saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in finance charges by doing this. So I appreciate the budget being approved tonight. That'll help a lot. New website, we finally got a demo of it last Wednesday night. Garrett Patnout is a local Vicksburg High School graduate who has his own web company. He has designed it for us. It looks awesome. It is very user-friendly. All the documents will be on the website. The only thing I added to them was a little FOIA button that he did not have on there because it seems like people become FOIA crazy when it comes to fires or whatever. So there is a link that goes right to a form. It's not live yet because there were some things that he had to get clarified. I just checked before I got to my space, but it will be live soon. So, and all the agendas will be on there, all the minutes will be on there. So, they are replacing a furnace over at Station 1, which is in Schoolcraft. The other big thing was we have had strategic planning the last few cycles. Jim has arranged through Peter Dams. I got with him 5 months ago regarding the fire authority. A year ago I proposed it and I was shot down that, we don't need to do that. And now with the change coming, I brought it up again because Peter reached out to me a couple, 3 weeks ago Other members that are going to be there are very interested in doing a strategic planning. It's going to be a very scaled-down version from what we do, because it'll be an initial type of thing, but I'd like to hold it here if possible, and maybe just have like a Saturday morning from 8:30 to noon or 8:30 to 1 or something like that. So I've got to get with Peter. So, and we are going to be looking for station locations. We are going to be reaching out to a company, doing an RFP to have somebody independently look at the landscape that we will have after April 1st and where would be the best place to have a station or stations. So that's it.
Yeah, I have a couple things. Crack staff is on this and technology. So our answer for mute swan removal permits, I do have that. We can look at the Michigan DNR for a permit for that. I'll have to look in to find out if there's companies that do that, because I don't want to try to capture orange-beaked swans myself. I'll be... Shout out to Mike Moore, who sent me that message through technology, so that answer is provided. The other thing, I did forget, and this is on me, but next Monday I will be presenting to council with a request to elevate a part-time employee, Giselle, up to full-time status. We'll go more into details, but it'd be at a assistant treasurer / assistant clerk position. Giselle has a full accounting degree, and we'll give backgrounds, but we'll present more with the details next week and the need to fill a capacity there. But just to give you a heads up, that's coming.
Yeah, thank you for that. Citizens' comments.
We don't have any money.
All right, trustees time. Mr. Kissinger, trustee Kissinger.
Good evening. One thing I wanted to mention was I did get a new role at another company, so I missed one meeting this month, and I will probably miss one next month. But I thank you for your grace, both of you gentlemen.
Okay. That's all. Trustee Reister.
Well, I would like to give the DPW a huge shout out for the snow removal. They have done such an amazing job in these last few days. I know I had to drive into Portage last week, and it was like a nightmare. And our streets were pretty darn good. So I really give them tons of credit, especially this morning, because I mean, we had a lot of snow. And they cleared, even my little dead-end street, they did a really nice job on that. So very appreciative. Thank you so much.
It's nice for them to get recognized, and thank you for that. Trustee Fields.
I want to thank Aaron and Steve for going through that. That was my 4th audit report, and I feel like getting closer to understanding it. So, no, they do a very, very good job of putting it in layperson's terms so that we can understand it. Huge shout out to the staff, Michelle, because Jim was on vacation, but that truly this staff does a wonderful job for this village fiscally, and it really needs to be pointed out all the time. Just a reminder. Appreciate Tom and Mike getting up and going through the golf course. That was my first one of those, and that was very, very good information. I do like seeing those numbers go up, especially the food and beverage. Fine job. And I agree with Gail that DPW, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks. President Pro Tem Keller.
You're right on me tonight. I also want to thank the DPW and Public Safety for this last week or so. I know it's been brutal out there. I was out blowing my driveway out Sunday for the 3rd time in 5 days, and the trucks were coming down the road, and I thought, oh, here we go, I'm gonna get filled in. They were nice. Well, I had to go around my vehicles anyways, because I was out, had them out in the street so I could get the driveway cleared out, but they waved to me, and I appreciate it. I got the cars back in as fast as I could so they could finish clearing the street. But, yeah, 150-year-old home, 35 years in that house. Saturday morning was the first time I had frozen water pipes. And so it was, I guess, -14 is the Mendoza line for pipes in my house. So, but I do appreciate Jim. Jim and I spoke briefly Saturday, and he immediately said, "What do you need?" I said, I got it. Don't worry about it. So I know that, you know, there's always somebody around to help us, and that's the one thing about this community. I did share, I don't know if you saw that, I did respond to you Saturday on our logos, on the branding.
Yes, I have received everyone. Now, Wendy gets the star because she was the most detailed, and the very first. Everyone else has now slid in, so.
I thought mine was good,
And you
though.
were the first, and a lot of thought went into that. I commented on it to her earlier tonight. I appreciate it.
Carl was detailed too, not like Wendy, but you were detailed, but you were like 6 or 7.
Better luck next time, Carl.
I was short and to the point. I said, this one looks like this.
All right, well, yeah, I just want to jump on that saying thanks Michelle, thanks Jim, and all your staff for, you know, this last 9 years it's been an amazing transition from where we started to where we're at today. And, you know, with Steve's presentation tonight and Aaron's help, he's every quarter he's in with you and your team. That was a good idea. It was been a huge benefit, I'm sure. You know, just looking at financially where we're at 9 years ago and where we're at today, night and day.
Can I correct one thing? I wasn't going to, but I blame it on a headache. It hasn't been 5 or 6 years. This was our 9th audit without a comment.
I wasn't paying attention
Hey.
9 years ago.
All right.
No, I was actually going to say
Well,
that.
the Gipsy thing or whatever it was, that was when we had to have so many in a row that wasn't it?
Right. You had to have 3 in a row before.
Which we now have.
Yeah.
We didn't before.
That was for federal auditing, which was secondary.
I don't want to bring up bad memories, but if my memory is correct, we had 11, I didn't want to exaggerate, 13 comments the first year I was on the council as a trustee.
Gail was here too, but it was for the year before we got here.
Yeah, well, you had to sign it. I know it's probably one of the most frustrating parts of your career is signing that damn thing.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
But yeah, it's been amazing, Jim. Thank you. Thank you and your staff so much. Kim Meyer said, Kim, thanks for everything you're doing. She goes above and beyond as a normal store owner and what she's doing for this community, for kids and reading. So thank her. And I'm going to do this on behalf of Schoolcraft Township. If there's somebody that's interested in the library board sitting as a township representative, get a hold of the township, please.
I'm going to make a comment on that because someone with over 25 years of experience in the educational world and that coordinated the literacy for the schools for over 20 years, put in for that, was told by the township supervisor they were moving forward. And I don't know, something must have happened in the last 6-8 weeks that they don't want to move forward with that person.
Oh, it's very interesting.
But they have put in, the person met with the director of the library, and I can't imagine what could have happened to take a person of that experience that was going to donate her time, that Schoolcraft Township has backed off that. So maybe the township supervisor needs to publicly answer for it.
I'd like to hear that answer, and I know Dr. Lloyd Appel had put in several requests, as he said, advising him of his departure, and there was absolutely no acknowledgement. And that gentleman has been part of this community for 50-some years. and to not even get an email
No,
acknowledgement
I can
back.
confirm that the person had 2 phone conversations with the township supervisor, went and had a conversation with the director of the library, and again, the township supervisor would have to answer why suddenly that has stopped.
Thank you, Jim. Questions inquiring minds want an answer to. So, having any further discussion, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in support, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.